Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who's here first. Juliet Holder Fowler, thank you so much for being first. Hi, Lola Love. Lydia Washington. I forgot the schedule. I usually try to do it at least a half hour before I go on, and I totally forgot. I guess you noticed, though, right? I totally forgot about it. I was sitting here, I was like, hey, you have not scheduled the time. So thank you all for showing up last minute. Um, okay, let me see here. Oh, there we go. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You guys, this was huge. You know, as things played out chronologically speaking, maybe we kind of had a feeling that it was huge, but it's like, okay, more and more. Anyway, I'll show you. I'll just show you. I could show you better than I could tell you. But huge, huge. Um, Went to Colombia, met some very cool kids, and gained some memories I'll remember for a very long time. Colombia's art, music, heritage, and traditions all make up the beating heart of its culture. Thank you to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan, and Archwell Foundation for inviting me to tag along on such an incredible trip. So that was just the last thing I found, which is why it's on top. But let's get to the nitty gritty. So this is translated, of course. So again, the grammar may be a little odd occasionally. And the fact that I notice it is interesting because, well, you've heard my grammar before, right? It's a wonder I made it through school. But I digress. Okay. So, oh, that's small, isn't it? What was I thinking? Hold on. This scenario is a preamble to the COP16, the most important environmental summit on the planet, where all the natural wealth and talent of the Afro community comes together with an average of 600,000 attendees over the 6 days from August 14th through the 19th. The traditional Cludadella Petronio and in the other venues set up throughout the city, achieving nearly 7 billion. Now, this is in Colombian pesos, 7 billion pesos in sales in the stands awarded to the 1,700 bearers of the tradition. I guess that's the people who are allowed to sell, maybe. I think. Anyway, that has like the license to sell for the occasion. I think. I don't know. Anyway, this scenario generated a positive economic impact given that the mayor's office made an investment of 15 million pounds, pesos, dollars, pesos, and translates into a return effect of approximately 60 billion, which created greater opportunities and resources for the city. So, just in case you're curious, the um, Colombian peso is the equivalent of $1. It's kind of like when you go to Japan, $1. I think is when I was there, it was like either a hundred or 1,000. I think it was 1,000 yen. So after a while, you get kind of used to it, and you're able to do it really fast in your head if you're lucky. But if not, just remember we're speaking pesos. Uh oh, what did I just do? Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. I gotta move this button because I keep hitting it. Let me see. But anyway, they're saying that it was a big success. And oh, yeah, that's the part I was looking for. With world class guests such as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, notice that they mentioned them first. Artists, diplomats, international media, and representatives of the music industry, the festival was in the eyes of the world, consolidating itself as the greatest exponent of Afro culture in Latin America. You guys, this festival is very important in South America. I've never heard of it, of course, but it is like one of the I think they said it's the biggest festival that promotes the African culture in South America. So the fact that Harry and Meghan was there is quite the compliment to the community. It's just one of those things where, like speaking Spanish in a country that's predominantly Spanish speaking, it goes a long way. You go to any country, and if you just attempt the language, it is one of the best ways to break the barrier. At least you want to begin your greeting that way. And, and language, I always say language is like water, it seeks its own level. You'll be amazed that when people want to understand each other, even when there is a language barrier, when people really want to understand each other, they will. So um, do not be discouraged. Do not be intimidated by the idea of going to another country because, oh, I don't know if I can speak the language. You got some money to spend? They'll understand. People always, um, George Jefferson said it best on the Jeffersons. Everybody speaks green. So now that's my very crude and ignorant way of saying, don't worry about it. Okay. Don't worry about it. If you want to go, do not allow language to hold you back. Winsome Jones, thank you so much for oh, the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. So, yeah, that is a huge occasion. So, when you are planning to go to Colombia, consider this or maybe some other occasion when you get a chance to see the best of everything. Okay, this visit is important for the entire Pacific. What is it? Taliana Vargas reflected after the visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to Cali. Um, let's see. The social manager of Cali was present at several of the Duke and Duchess activities and stated that it is a great window for the region. In other words, people can actually get an idea of the culture, of the food, the fashions, everything, the climate. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle concluded their visit to Colombia with their attendance at the Petronio Alvarez in Cali, which was a great opportunity for the city to showcase this type of event and its benefits worldwide, according to the mayor's office of Cali. You see there, those people are on cloud nine. And of course, not just because Harry and Meghan came to visit, but because it actually has the eyes of the world on these places that rarely get that type of attention. So, again, cheers to Harry and Meghan. And this guy right here, Gonzalo Malarino Flores. I think I'm going to have to make one of my videos. He wrote a column, um, and it was absolutely beautiful. But I'm only going to share part of it with you. It says, I don't know if they get paid or not, but I was glad they came. And then it says a lot of other stuff. And then it gets down to this one part. But they came and they didn't have to come. They were able to stay there in their apartments and their mansions and their clubs and strolling through their palaces and their gardens under their exquisite umbrellas. They came and saw schools and hospitals and visited communities and families and social works and saw a little of Colombia, perhaps the best of Colombia, if you ask me. Are those places where there is the most struggle, where the features and gestures of the human beings are the deepest and most desperate, where we search anxiously, thirstily, day after day for how to build a heaven and a territory for peace and hope that will be our country and have a collective destiny. So when you go home, tell us what you saw in Colombia. Tell us what the hands and eyes of the children were like, how the sun and the wind and the mountains and the sea in this country filled our lungs with the future and covered our lashes with spores. Let us say that in us there is sweetness and at the same time an inexhaustible strength and fraternity and mercy and coverage. I'm sorry, and courage. You can say all those things when you get home to your comfortable lives. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I'm looking at another screen. I don't know who this guy is, but I'm telling you, I thought it was a poem at first. I thought it was a poem. It could be a poem, and this is only part of the article. I thought it was a poem. Beautiful. I mean, I'm getting chills. It was beautiful. Tell them what you saw, or tell us what you saw when you get home. Tell us what you saw in Colombia. I'm like, my God, who writes like that? Now, this too was also translated. So, but I think to translate, I actually had to find another way to translate it because the first time it was awful. But this one is so much better. So much better. So, anyway, that's why I say, you guys, this was a huge, huge moment. Huge. Um, okay, there we go. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry explore first free town for Africans in the Americas and more during trip to Colombia. And this is called Travel Noir. Now, I don't know if that means travel for black people or if that's just the name that they have. The Sussexes have made headlines with every move they make due to their connection to the British Crown. These intense scrutinies, as seen in recent years, has even led to their stepping down as working members of the royal family. Although the couple has been more private recently, they still make public appearances. Despite their aversion to traveling to the United Kingdom due to safety concerns, they recently visited Colombia. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex enjoyed a multi day tour of the country, invited by Vice President Francia Marquez. The trip appeared to be a joyous occasion, allowing them to discuss and learn more about Colombia's diverse culture. You know, in everybody's life, they'll have some things that they're proud of, some things that they're extremely proud of. And then there's going to be things that you're more proud of than others. And then there's things that, how do I put it? Let's say when the judgment day come and they ask you, why do you deserve to be in heaven? And you just have to think of the probably one of the best things you've ever done. And for them as a married couple, this has got to be one of the best things ever. Um, so Yeah, this is one that will definitely shape so much of the future for a lot of people, due in part to the fact that they were there. Okay. And then there's this long live Patronus, long live France, and long live the Dukes. Now, I don't know if they mean Francia, Francia. I wasn't sure about that. But today, Petronio is one of the most important festivals in Latin America. It has become a music and gastronomic, artisanal, and cultural event. I always remember with affection and nostalgia German, yeah, German, Patino, the true creator of what seems like an impossible dream to rescue the memory of Petronio Alvarez, poet, musician, composer from Buenaventura, born in 1914. That passion of German anthropologist and historian for the culture of the Pacific, that tenacity to make Colombia and the entire world know it, that firm conviction of the treasure that our coast holds, always abandoned, unknown, vilified, and forgotten, that dream that became a reality in 1997 in the first Petronio Festival in the open air theater Los Cristal, which brought the music of marambas, drums, voices, and poems to the sky. An awakening for this discriminatory city, always turning its back on the coast and the ancestral culture of Afro descendants. Today, Petronio is one of the most important festivals in Latin America. It has become a musical, gastronomical, artisan. Oh, okay, I did that one already. Uh, oh, did I? One of a color rhythm. Okay, no, I didn't. Today, Petronio is one of the most important festivals in Latin America. It has become a musical, gastronomic, artisanal, and cultural event. All the color, rhythm, and cadence and contagious joy that always remain intact in the genes of the men and women brought from Africa in inhumane conditions, all the wisdom that noting and not one could take away from them. Today, they have a vice president who represents them, a woman who was a leader from a very young age, who fought for the rights of her region and managed to stop a river from being diverted. An award winning lawyer, intelligent and daring, despite the fact that her boss, the president, does not like her and has tried to prevent her from shining with her own light. Francia Marquez, a woman with a fireproof social sensitivity and snubs, is leaving a deep mark, although many people want to overshadow her. It was a complete success to invite Harry and Meghan, vilified by royalty or the aristocratic, hypocritical, false brand rabble who do not forgive the rebellious couple for leading a more authentic kind of life. The Sussexes' visit to Sao Basilio de Palenque, to several schools, their presence at the forum in which 400 African descended women from Narino, Caucasus, and Valley participated, and their participation in the Petronio was a hit, even though many of our Greek uh, Chipica, cheap, well, I can't pronounce that, aristocracy wanted to belittle it. In other words, the snobs wanted to belittle the visit. This is not royal, but real visit has filled foreign papers, headlines, and has managed to position us in places where we had never existed before. I would like to congratulate the governor of Vail de Cauca and the mayor of Cali for their unrestricted support, who understood the importance of this visit, and Francia Marquez, and a kiss across the moon to Germaine Patino, that unique human being who left us an eternal legacy. So, you guys, yes, there are some people that are, oh, there are some people that are super critical of just about anything and everything. But by and large, it was a hit. You're always going to find some naysayers, but by and large, this was a huge, huge, huge hit. Um, okay. Let me see. In Cali, we had Petronio, which was by far very well organized, a great quality, and with a huge attendance. On top of that, with world class visitors like Harry and Meghan. If you want to see it, go see it. Cali continues to advance. You see that? People are so proud of this moment. And it's just like all of that. Oh, and Harry and Meghan were there too. You know what I'm saying? Or Harry and Meghan was there and a bunch of other celebrities and dignitaries. That's how a lot of these things read. It was the best year ever, and Harry and Meghan were there. You know? So whether it starts or finishes, it seems like that's the part that they want to stress is that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were here. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, last night, Michelle Obama wowed the audience at the Democratic National Convention, and people could not help but notice a similarity to the Duchess of Sussex. I guess this is going to be a very important look this fall. People could not help but notice. Now, speaking of people, because this reporter is a bit unpopular with the Sussex squad, I decided to conceal her identity. I hope I did a good job of doing that. Yes, I did. Well, anyway, wait, this arrived last night. I tried it on immediately. So good. So, excuse me. This is that one reporter that I would thank you not to name. And some people have referred to her as a bit of a stalker. Now, she had some dodgy things that she reported in the past. Now, all of a sudden, she is seemingly Team Sussex. I'm not going to criticize her because the Sussexes were gracious enough to extend an invite to her last time. And so if you feel like this is the behavior of a stalker, fine. But all I can say is, as a Sussex squad, a lot of people in the squad feel as though we tend to beat up on certain people. We don't really believe in second chances. And I think we should change that because, yes, we want to be very protective. But when the Sussexes choose people to work with for whatever reason, um, they have either moved beyond something. Maybe there's a chance they didn't know about it. But whatever the case may be, we have to live in the moment, be present for the moment instead of the other stuff. But, you know, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? Well, I get all that. but also let bygones be bygones. And when you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? Uh, sometimes I have to turn to Dr. Maya Angelou because I can't really articulate what it is I'm feeling. So I have to turn to Dr. Maya. But anyways, um, so you might call this kind of stalkerish behavior, or maybe there's genuinely a fan. I don't know. But she did rush out to buy the outfit, so or order the outfit. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on this one. All right, we'll keep an eye on her. Speaking of keeping an eye on her, uh, Iman Khalif, the boxer who was quite controversial during the Olympics, has had yet another makeover. Um, well, she looks beautiful. Now, fortunately, I hadn't said or posted anything disrespectful during that period, which is amazing because I can be kind of silly sometimes, but I just didn't know what to think. And there's a lot of people who just, you know, did not know. And I think people should be forgiven for not realizing there's um there's so many degrees to what describes a person's you know identity. Yeah, we'll say the word identity. There's so many things that describes a person's identity. And because there's so many new definitions coming down the pike, we keep hearing, when I was born, I think I was colored. And then later on, I became an Afro American. Then at some point, they started saying black. Okay, black is beautiful. Then at some point, they start, or am I getting that backwards? Was it colored, black, Afro American, and then African American? They kept changing. They kept changing. So, that being considered, um, don't beat up on yourself if you don't get this right every time because they keep changing. It's respectful when you get it right. It is being very respectful. It's the height of respect to get it right. But sometimes, in spite of all the efforts, we still make a mistake because our minds have been hardwired to see this or to see that. And some definitions I don't agree with. Some definitions I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But don't be hard on yourself if you don't get it right. And um, you know, don't get hostile with people for trying to explain it because they're trying to get it right. So it turns out that she is who she is. And even though in our minds we pick up subtle cues and we want to believe our eyes, sometimes you can't believe your eyes, right? So this is a teachable moment for everyone, especially people that own social media platforms, a world renowned authors or writers or whatever, some political pundits. There were a lot of people that said a lot of things, and behind all of that, there was someone who was in a lot of pain because of the things that were said. So let's just remember that this is a teachable moment. And with billions of people in the world, this is someone that you're likely to never meet in your life. And I think that because of politics now, they want us to be angry and reactive and feel like somebody's going to try to come and change us, and or somebody's going to try to indoctrinate us, when the truth is you only meet a handful of people a week. If you're not, working with the public, you only run into a handful of people a week, and I'm sure most of those people are not trying to make you into something that you're not. So um, eventually election day will come and we can calm down. But I think the whole thing with who uses what bathroom and gender and all that kind of stuff, what do you use as the pronouns, a lot of this is, it's the new abortion rights, because that issue is kind of pushed to the back burner until they change the law or whatever they need to do. Because of that, they had to find something else. Just like instead of saying liberal, we have to say woke. Woke is not used in polite terms, it's used in the most offensive way. And I'm still trying to find out, why does woke have to be a bad thing? But that's what they say when they want to insult people. They say, oh, that person is woke. And then eventually they'll find some other label to put on people. So I I'll be glad when election day comes, and then that way everybody could calm down. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote. Okay, World Mental Health Day Festival, Thursday, 10/10/2024, all day. Project Healthy Minds, Hudson Yards, New York, New York. A city so great they named it twice. New York, New York. If you can make it there, you'll fail every place else. That New York. Um, Sponsored by Lululemon, Maybelline, Warner Brothers, Discovery, KPMG, Nespresso, Nespresso. Anyway, I that was the event that the Sussexes went to last time. If you remember that, they were at Hudson Yards, and that was the second time they had been to New York, or the first time since it happened. It was so painful. I just call it it. That situation I refer to as it. That was the first time they had returned to New York since it happened, and it was a success. The second gentleman was there, Doug Inhofe. The Surgeon General of the United States was there. The families that these Sussexes have been working with through their foundation. Um, yeah, it was a good occasion. So, anyway, I don't know if the Sussexes are going. I think they are. I think they are. They showed them on the promo, so I think they are going to be there. But I'm going to have to look at that again. But yeah, so save the date, 10/10/2024. Hi, Kim Peaches. Okay. Yeah, that was a boxer. Okay. So I do a good Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Oh, you know what? That was starting to sound Morgan Freeman. I wasn't ready. Hello, my name is Morgan Freeman. Hello, my name is Morgan Freeman. Yeah, see what I mean? I was kind of slipping into Morgan Freeman there. I'm going to have to do some more practice. Thank you, Lola Love. Um, Now, see there, this is a good example of somebody needing just a few sentences to say what took me about 20 minutes of hemming and hawing. And you could either listen to me for 20 minutes or you could just read this. See what I mean? That is the shorter version. My version kind of makes it sound like I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. But this is clean and consistent. Thank you, Lola Love. What would we do without you? Now, Nick Pisa. Nick Pisa. This guy right here is a lot of trouble. So yesterday I was watching Facts and Two Cents, and I found out that this guy had gotten kicked off of or allegedly, have to say allegedly because I don't know that they actually named the person, but I did hear someone on Facts and Two Cents say it was Nick Pisa, which is interesting because I actually talked about him that day because of how nasty and cruel and evil he is. I didn't even play the sound bite because, or did I play it? I don't think so because he was so particularly rude that I was rather bothered by some of the things that he said. And he was angry because he didn't have access to the event. Um, God, he's got a lot of layers to his face, doesn't he? He has a lot of dark areas, doesn't he? I just noticed that. Maybe it's the light. No, he's got a lot of weird areas in his face. Um, not that that's important. I just noticed that he has a lot of shadows. But then again, he's a shadowy individual. So I'm gonna actually do that though. I'm only gonna play as much as I can stand to listen to, and then I'm gonna cut them off. So don't worry, I'm not gonna walk away. I don't even have any cookies, so I'm not gonna walk away. But I want you to hear why, allegedly, potentially, why he was not allowed anywhere near the Sussexes, why he was not allowed in any of the venues. His role, as far as I'm concerned, was just to disrupt. But since it's over, I feel stronger now that I could actually listen to him. Okay, that is buffering like crazy. All right, try that one more time. Huh. Well, you know what? Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Que sera, sera. Oh, it's just my phone is acting up. I see. Everything's buffering. Huh. Well, I guess it wasn't meant to be then. All right, try one more time. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Well, maybe I'll come back to that one. Let me try the other one then. Let me try the other one. Actually, you know what? I had
I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me. That you can see some of the favelas on the hill just behind me. There is a sheer. You are struck by the amount of poverty in this area. I'm told that, well, as you probably may know, in Colombia, 1 in 3 people are on the poverty line, and there are people homeless on the streets here. And this school, as I say, it stands out as a bit of a beacon in this area. But just to go back to your point, yes, the security has been absolutely astonishing, really, on this trip. I counted at least 14 police cars and police vans as part of the cavalcade that came here with Harry and Meghan and the Vice President. And as I say, they left about 15 minutes ago now. They're going on to a luncheon with the Vice President in town. And then later on this afternoon, Harry and Meghan will see people from the Team Colombia of the Invictus team from Colombia, which are competing in the games in Canada next year. I should also say that all the venues I've noticed that they've chosen for the events that they're doing here in Colombia on this 4-day visit have all had underground car parks, underground bunkers. So they just are swept in and driven straight up to the venue, and then you don't see them at all. There is no sort of, as you would see maybe on the UK or on other World Tours, coming out and shaking hands of onlookers or well-wishers. There's nothing like that at all. It's just straight into the venue, straight in to meet the people there, and then straight out again.
And Nick, can I briefly ask you, we've got about 30 seconds, what's the reaction been like from the Colombian public towards the Sussexes?
Well, the few people that I spoke to here this morning didn't actually know who they were. They were quite surprised, just wondering what all the security was about. So we had to explain to them who they were and the history behind them. They've just been nonplussed, really. They have other problems on their minds, far more so than the visit of Harry and Meghan. In fact, the papers today, there's not been that much coverage of their visits. It's not as much as you would expect. I think obviously they are being seen, perhaps maybe it's trying to cover up problems for the Venezuela.
So this guy just said the papers haven't really said anything at all. Now do you see why he was restricted? There was a certain point where he was, that's perfect. He looks like one of the Flintstones. Thank you. That's what he looks like, one of the Flintstones. Joe Rockhead. Or Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge. Yeah, so listen, I'm surprised that there's homeless people anywhere, let alone greater Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Florida. Isn't that something? I didn't know that there was homeless people anywhere, let alone right here in the USA. I kind of think there's homeless people somewhere everywhere. What is your point? It's as though he's trying to find the worst possible things for their viewers, listeners, whatever. You went all the way there just to point out some of the social problems that affect people all over the world, including the United Kingdom, where they just had riots in 20 cities, where there's a huge rate of child poverty and food insecurity, more food banks than there are McDonald's, and you're over there. This is the equivalent of William going to New York to talk about pollution in Hudson Bay when you have raw sewage running into the coastal waters of Britain to the point where people can't even swim for fear of illness. But instead of William going to talk about the raw sewage, this is something that the Victorians actually fixed in London, 200 years ago, 100 years ago? Well, about 150 years ago. They created a sewer system to prevent the raw sewage from flowing into the city water, right? Into the Thames. And instead of talking about that, he'd rather spend time talking about, gee, I wonder what's wrong with Colombia. Now, all of a sudden, you worried about what's wrong with Colombia. Worry about your own mess back home, because it is a mess. While the royal family is receiving, according to Republic, they receive about 345 million pounds a year. Not that 100 and whatever they say to people, is way more than that. Let me see. KH, thank you so much for the PayPal. Okay, so that is why nobody wanted to bother with him. The few people we had to explain who they were. Yeah, right. Try to explain yourself, Joe Rockhead. Now, what is the fuss about? The Royal Rota is a press pool that covers the British royals. The Royal Rota is made up of a select group of media representatives that are invited to attend and report on royal events, with the understanding that the news and photographs taken at the event will be airbrushed. I'm sorry, will at the the photos taken at the event will be freely distributed, freely shared, that is, with other members of the media. This pool system decreases the number of media representatives. So, in other words, the people that are invited to eat, like Rebecca English, the people who are invited to drink, those people that literally spend the night with the royal family on occasion, that stroll through the gardens and have their weddings on royal property, the people that go to the annual royal Christmas party that have absolutely no objectivity whatsoever, those people make up the Royal Rota. Harry and Meghan did not feel obliged to invite these people while they were there, let alone after leaving. But while they were there, they had to have them. And then they would write these negative articles. Oh, Meghan just can't get things right, can she? She just can't. She can't. And then, of course, they're supposed to be grateful that they came along. All that nonsense. So Harry did not invite a lot of media people to the wedding. They thought that all of the media upper crust, the people that make their lives miserable, should have come to the wedding. Harry said no. I don't think Meghan knew one way or the other. She pretty much went along with whatever he said because he knows better. He has been dealing with these people his entire life. Some of these people literally have watched him grow up, and yet they're so malicious and cruel to him. I don't know how you could be that cruel to someone that you've known since they were a child. That just goes to show you how twisted the Royal Rota is. Okay? So the Royal Rota will not, I repeat, will not be invited on any of these things that has something to do with the Sussexes. They just not. And so they don't like it. They don't like it because that is their bread and butter. They make their money from the royals. But the other royals are so GD boring that it doesn't hold enough interest. These people are not being invited on foreign television shows and morning shows and such to talk about Charles bowel movements, to talk about whether or not Camilla is the best dressed whether or not Camilla is best in show. Okay. Nobody wants to know if Camilla is best in show. We'll save that for Westminster Club. We'll let them decide if she's best in show. If you know, you know. That is something that most people just don't care about. So the Royal Rota, and by the way, when it comes to the Royal Rota, the leader is Rebecca English. Rebecca English is the leader of the Royal Rota. What was that name that one of the squaddies gave her? Was it Big Becky? I can't remember the nickname she had for her. I cannot believe I can't remember that nickname. Oh, Lord. Gosh, that's going to bother me now. What was her nickname? Well, whatever it was. So the Royal Rodents or Rota, whatever they're supposed to be, this is what they would do. They would tag along. So this, I guess, freelance reporter or whatever that guy is, the one with that odd looking face with all those shadows in his face. He's doing this hatchet job on Colombia, on the Sussexes. But you know, Becky the Blob. Thank you, Becky the Blob. Becky the Blob. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Becky the Blob. Oh, I could not remember that. Ooh. Becky the Blob. Hashtag. And it was a hashtag, Becky the Blob. I love it. Becky the Blob. Let me hashtag that right now and see what comes up. Let me see. Becky the Blob. Oh, yep, there it is. Becky the Blob. Woo! I love it. That is so shady. I love it. Anyway, so Becky the Blob is the one that's in charge of the Royal Rota. Okay, so let's go here. So I guess it became too dangerous for him to be on the streets. He said that the taxi driver had told him when he dropped him off, him and some other reporters, to be careful. I don't know if he told them to be careful because of what could happen on the streets or be careful saying all these negative, nasty things about somebody else's country. But whatever the case may be, he ought to be careful. And I think part of being careful is instead of out there with the Sussexes, where is he doing his report? Where is he doing his report? He's in a hotel room because he was not invited. He was not welcome. Instead of being near the Sussexes or even staying in the same luxurious hotel, he's off someplace at a Holiday Inn or something because he was not welcome to come near. He was told to keep his distance. And so that's what he's doing. And he's full of shade and all types of hostility because his presence was not tolerated. And so now he's salty. Okay. Becky the Blob. You guys know how to make my day. Becky the Blob. That just tickles me. Becky the Blob. Okay. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one, isn't it?
Pete, for any exclusives you've got on this faux royal tour coming up?
I'd love to, Ben. I really would. But as I said, it's just all the cards being kept very close to the chest of the Sussexes. They aren't sharing anything. They have one pool reporter who's been assigned exclusive coverage to them from Harper's Bazaar, and they are getting advanced copy and advance warning of everything is going to happen. But then when you read the copy, it reads more like a fashion show report because they're focusing very much so on the clothes and the jewelry that Meghan is wearing. And I think I totted up yesterday that she was wearing more than $20,000 worth of jewelry and dresses. Which, okay, fine, if you're entitled to it. But then we should bring into the same conversation, Ben, the fact that the average Colombian earns around about $1,200 a month, which is less than £1,000 a month.
Sneak peek for any exclusives you've got on this faux royal tour coming up.
Okay, so you can see his Pulitzer Prize report, or you can hear it. That is what he went all the way to Colombia to do, is to talk about the price of Meghan's jewelry, right? Which of course she didn't pay for all of it. Some of it was inherited pieces from Harry. Also, he criticized Harper's Bazaar. Well, when Kate goes somewhere, what do they usually talk about? Did they talk about how she connected to women's empowerment? I don't think so. Did they talk about her speaking another language? I don't think so. Did they talk about her actually working at the, I don't know, the American Embassy or the British Embassy, or did they even talk about her working anywhere? I don't think so. What do they talk about with Kate? They talk about how big her hair is. They talk about how great she looks. They talk about her legs if she decides to show them that day. Basically, they give her a lot of points for just showing up. They don't give her any points for who she knows or what she's done or any of that kind of stuff. Nothing. Kind of like when you've been on the throne for 70 years and the only thing good that they can say is nobody knows what you think and you've met every American president except for one. That's the only thing that they could say about your 70 years on the throne. What do you think they're going to say about Kate's brief moment on the throne if she makes it, or next, well, on her throne? You know, they'll have a pair of them. What do you think they're going to say about her? Not much. Not much. They're not going to talk about how she was an activist as a child. They don't talk about that. All they talk about is that she wore a see-through dress, and that is what convinced William that he should marry her. Yep, that's it. That's what they talk about. What's that? Harper's Bazaar probably was charging them over $10K for pics. That's why it was about the fashion, allegedly. Oh, okay. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you for the reminder. Absolutely.
Bitter. And, you know, somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Okay. So this is about the getting kicked out of the WhatsApp, I think. The Telegraph criticized the dynamic duo for keeping them at bay instead of allowing their reporters and photographers to get close-up view. Unlike a traditional royal tour of old, the media were not invited, save for the hand-picked reporter whose job it was to relay each event to newspapers and other outlets across the world. Isn't that what the Royal Rota does? Isn't that what the Royal Rota is doing? The Royal Rota decides who sees and hears what. And whatever they say or do is always going to be favorable to the British royal family. I don't understand what's the difference. The chosen journalist was an online reporter from U.S. publication Harper's Bazaar who duly filed a brief overview of each engagement. Good. An overview of the engagement is what you're supposed to do. The real report goes into Harper's Bazaar. Why? Because they were invited. What the Telegraph is failing to see is that Harry and Meghan are no longer senior royals. As private citizens, they can control the narrative. If they allowed members of the Royal Rota to join in, we would all know what those headlines would look like. There's no reason for the Sussexes to subject themselves to such harassment or abuse willingly, while curated snapshots only tell one part of the story. The British press is forgetting that the video coverage will always tell the real story. Hello. Hello. Meghan's use of her linguistic skills in speaking Spanish to crowds made an impact. For Meghan to say "my friend" in in that way is such a powerful statement and shows just how close they have become. People will take note that a Colombian journalist told the Daily Mail, it's those connective moments that make Harry and Meghan very popular during their visit to promote the Invictus Games, which is being courted by many countries for future games. While the royal family may not enjoy the Sussex's goodwill tours, it points out the magic the palace is missing, especially with Kate Middleton largely out of the public eye with her health battles. Okay. Tina Brown, author of the Palace Papers, Inside the House of Windsor and the Truth and Turmoil, might have summed it up best after the couple's trip to Nigeria. When I saw him and Meghan in Nigeria, I had a nostalgia. I felt this is what it could have been, she told the BBC in May. These two, who are enormously appealing to the public and who are very good at it, were out there in Nigeria, sort of looking really attractive and being appealing people. Harry and Meghan had left a charisma vacancy at the palace. Hello. Hello. Okay. Now, sometimes Tina Brown works my last nerves, but she told the truth. Why subject yourself to Becky the Blob and her crew when you can just have someone tell the story as it is instead of playing up to your base, instead of feeding lines to the derangers so that they could attack the Sussexes on social media? And that's what it does. The tabloids, there's a symbiotic relationship between the tabloids and the derangers, the trolls on social media, where they feed each other. Like some of those harebrained ideas that Angela Levin come up with, she don't think of that stuff herself. She sees what's trending amongst the derangers. And if it sounds like there's any whiff of truth to it, like it could be possible, not that it happened, but that it could be possible, right? Meghan, she didn't want to be in the royal family because she found out she's going to have to walk behind Kate. Well, she knew that when she got married. That wasn't the problem. It was the disrespect. It was the abuse. If this is the way the role is, then it is what it is. But you're not going to abuse me on top of that. And that's the problem. If you want to use this whole ranking system, okay, there's plenty of ranking systems in this world. Usually when the president of the United States walk in, people stand up. No problem. But if you want me to stand up at your presence and be disrespected, then I can't be a part of whatever this is. And that's the whole point. It's one thing to expect protocols, but abusing people and leaking information to the press so that they can look bad and to elevate your whatever the situation is, that's not appropriate. that is it is dangerous. Actually, it is very dangerous. It is very dangerous because then the public feels as though they need to punish you and say things at you. And God forbid they feel like they need to hurt you physically or otherwise. And that's the problem with that, is that if something terrible happens, then the people that aggravated those situations, they are just going to say, well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't have anything to do with it. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle upset the British tabloids with their savvy move during Colombia tour. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle pulled off another successful tour that might have the British press up in arms. In May, they were invited to visit Nigeria on behalf of the Invictus Games, which led to Colombia requesting the Sussex. Well, that's out of order, but or should I say that's not true? This was over a year in the making. But anyway, however, the UK media hates that they are given access to the couple, which might be Harry and Meghan's savviest PR move yet. Of course, it's savvy. It is intelligent, and it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, I can only say that Harry and Meghan have to do whatever it is they need to do to protect themselves from that family, her family, and the tabloid media. Know what they say? They come in threes. Three terrible things. Well, four if you include the trolls on the internet. And then, of course, who can forget crybaby Richard K? Oh, he was crying the blues, wasn't he? He was so upset that the Sussexes, they need to tell us. So you can abuse them, Richard? So that you and your cohorts can abuse them? Is that why they need to tell you? So you can figure out what will hurt the worst? What lies we can tell? And it's a shame it has to be that way. They would make more money. They would make more money just telling the truth about the Sussexes as opposed to the big lies that they tell, because they would have access. But it's more important to be evil. It's more important to be part of that cult, and therefore they don't have access. That was a choice that they made. You want to follow Becky the Blob? You want to follow Becky the Blob? Then you get what Becky gets: dust. Absolutely nothing. Okay. I was looking for that video. Which I can never find when I'm looking for it. Ain't that something? Hold on, let me see. Okay. What if I look under Crybaby? Ah, there it is, Crybaby. Should have done that the first time.
What they need to do, it seems to me, going forward, is build bridges in the United Kingdom, in particular, with their family, perhaps get back onto social media in some way. Don't be so hostile. Be more open about what they're doing. You know, when they do something, we, the media, only learn about it at the very last moment. It's very hard to engage with them as a couple. And I think there's room for big change there if they want to.
You know, whatever happens, I have to say, Harry and Meghan were very courageous to say no. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is to say no. It seems so easy. Nope. But that's actually not always so easy to do, especially when you know that there's going to be hell to pay. But they said no. They said no to the abuse, no to the lies, mistreatment, all of the leaks and briefings and stuff. They just said no. They took their chances and they walked away. Let that be a lesson. Sometimes you have to just throw caution to the wind and walk. You have to walk away from what's familiar, what's easy, what's routine. That's the only way that you can salvage your dignity. It's a lesson that you want to teach your children, is not to be somebody's pawn, not to be a victim. Stand up for yourself. Just say no. All right. So the Queen said Trump was very rude. Astonishing claim revealed in new book, which reports that late monarch believed president must have an arrangement with his wife, Melania. Again, you don't really have to look so far from the family to find the same thing. You really don't have to look that far. As a matter of fact, I think there's several arrangements in that family. That might be one right there. And let me see. I think there's another one. Wait for it. I think there's got to be something else. Let me see. Arrangements. Oh, these two. I'm really starting to think that that's an arrangement, seeing that after the coronation, they both went their separate ways. She went to her house. He went to his house. They said he needed some rest, but sounds rather suspect to me. So I think there's all sorts of arrangements. Even she had an arrangement. Yeah, even she had an arrangement. Where was Philip? Philip was over at Wood Farm. And the Queen was wherever she was. Kate's at Adelaide's or at her mama's, and William is wherever he is, allegedly. And then, of course, there's even the Yorks, right? The Duchess of York is wherever she is, and, well, he's wherever he is. There's all kind of arrangements. Isn't that interesting? The only people that we know for sure are under the same roof are the people that ain't even over there. Those are the only ones we know for sure are under the same roof. So that shouldn't come as a surprise. I suppose the Queen would know what it looks like. She should know better than anybody. Anyways, as for Trump being rude, I don't know why she would get that idea. I mean, yeah, he tried to run her over. They were supposed to be looking at the guards, and he kept crossing in front of her. She had to run to one. She had to run from one side to the other to avoid him stepping on her. See how far apart her legs are in that left photo? She had to take a big step to get out of his way because he kept swinging his arms around, spinning his upper body around, trying to see where she was. He couldn't see her. So instead of walking side by side, he just walked right in front of her. So if there's any idea that he's rude, maybe that's where it came from. And of course, then she had to tolerate sitting next to him. I guess this was the horse races or whatever. But this isn't a doctored photo. This is him really leaning all up into her face like that. So maybe that's what was rude. I'm guessing. Maybe that's what the rudeness was. And then, of course, you invite him to a state dinner instead of going to get a tailored, you know, tuxedo, white tie and tails. Instead of getting something tailored like Barack Obama is wearing, that white waistcoat is not supposed to hang a foot beneath the outer coat. It simply is not. Trump looked like something left over from Easter. He looks like something from an Easter cartoon or something. Your clothes are not supposed to fit like that. That is not how your tuxedo is supposed to be worn. You can see there she's just all smiles with Obama, which, she and Philip were huge fans of the Obamas. Couldn't wait to meet them. Compared to Trump, where the government insists that she had a state dinner with him, and well, she can add that to her tally of presidents that she spent time with, legitimate and otherwise. He's otherwise, of course. But yeah, she had to endure that. But she's not the only person who was forced to endure. There's Afro Annie trying to figure out, how is this a first lady when the most recent first ladies were Ivy League graduates, Hillary Clinton, Wellesley, and Yale. And then, of course, the only double Ivy League graduate, Princeton, Harvard, you have Michelle Obama. And then, of course, there's Melania, who dropped out of college in her first year, then lied about it and pretend she graduated. Yeah, she pretended that she graduated, even though she dropped out in her first year. On her bio, it said that she was a architect. And when people noticed it, not only did the line about architecture or architect disappear, the entire biography disappeared. Yeah, they took it off the website because she was discovered. So the Queen didn't want to have to deal with all this nonsense herself. Here she is, the head of the Church of England, and she's with two of the most sinful people that had ever slept under the roof of the White House. You got Trump and his mail order bride. I wish I was making that up. So there she is trying to encourage Afro Annie to come and meet Donald Trump. She refused. She did not leave that threshold. The Queen was like, cranking her arm like, get over here. And she's like, what? Huh? Seriously, she did not step over to meet him. I could not find a single photo from that occasion or video where Afro Annie, who, obviously is there to represent her people, could not be bothered with somebody like Donald Trump. So she didn't. She stayed her distance. As far as I can tell, I don't think they were ever within 10 feet of each other. This is probably as close as they've gotten during that visit. So, Princess Anne's expressions as she can't stop looking at Melania and Donald Trump are worthy of a future episode of The Crown. I agree. They should have an episode dedicated to Afro Annie, who would rather, I don't know, smoke a pack of Newports than to get anywhere near the president and his, almost said mistress, and his wife. Used to be mistress. Now it's his wife. but they ain't together, so they say. Yeah, she disobeyed her mother. She refused to step over on camera. And then, of course, I got to thinking about it. Maybe the queen, just maybe the queen, realized that in his spare time, Donald Trump was quite I guess you could say, a bit of a queen himself, drama queen or otherwise. What? So Afro Annie, she decided to go and step out and have a Newport and avoid Donald Trump. Sounds fair to me. There you go. America's drama queen. America's drama queen. As Barack Obama has said, Donald Trump ain't stopped complaining since he come down that escalator, what, 8, 9 years ago? He has not stopped complaining. He's still complaining. He is the biggest victim in the United States. Nothing goes his way. And that's what's so strange is that there's nobody more protected than a rich white man in the United States. Matter of fact, any place you go, a rich white man has the best chances of the best of everything, right? They have the best possibilities that money can buy. So, what is his complaint? He did not earn his money. He inherited over $400 million from his father. He likes to say that he is this accomplished businessman. He built companies. They said that if Donald Trump had invested his money wisely, like most trust fund babies do, if he had invested his money in the market, he would have more money in actuality than what he pretends to have. There are several billionaires. Mark Cuban was one who said, if you're wealthier than me, prove it. Donald Trump has a lot of wealth that's on paper. Donald Trump that has a lot of wealth that's going through bankruptcy court and such. But in terms of real, actual wealth, it's not as much as people think it is. His wealth is whatever he feels he's worth that day, which is why he got in trouble with the IRS. Because when it's time to pay taxes, he's worth less. When it's time to ask for a loan, he's worth more. So he didn't pay as much tax as he should have. And a lot of loans he was not able to get unless he went to like Russia or China to get the money, because American banks will have nothing to do with him. So there you go. Donald Trump, the drama queen. So with all the other offenses, trying to run over the queen, wearing the worst tuxedo ever seen in the Great Hall, and the list go on and on. But I guess the worst is the fact that when it comes to queens, Elizabeth was not the only one at the table. You had the Queen of the United Kingdom, Britain, and et cetera, in all the realms. And then you had the drama queen, the President of the United States, with all his drama. Never a dull moment, is it? I mean, if I didn't tell you that that was Donald Trump and not Queen Elizabeth, would you have known the difference? Probably not. Maybe. I mean, the Queen's uniform looks perfect on him, doesn't it? It looks perfect. It's not out of place in the least bit. It's like a hand to the glove. I could just hear him right now. 1992. A year I don't have a Donald Trump impersonation that I shan't look back upon with undiluted pleasure. I don't have a Donald Trump impersonation, but I would love to hear him do that speech. And then, of course, when I realized that I was in love with Britain, when I was in love with the people of London, this was when our love affair started, when they were sailing those huge, cartoonish Trump balloons, a big baby, Trump. They were selling that balloon all over Greater London. And there was not Sadiq Khan. They wanted Sadiq Khan to put a stop to it, but he said they had a right to do it, that they hadn't broken the law. They're just, expressing themselves. They got a permit for a balloon. And so they sailed the balloon over Greater London. And they just happened to do it during Donald Trump's visit. There were a lot of people that were protesting. Not everybody was in love with Donald Trump over there. Most people, especially in London, it was not a popular visit. Some people were rather upset that the Queen had to do it. But, the government requests and she do as she's told. I don't know if you watched this video that I made earlier, but dragging some of Rupert's high-profile former attack dogs back into the crosshairs. In other words, make sure you watch that video. It's a video. What is the name of that video? I forgot the name of it. Let me see. I'll take a look here. But I stayed up all night working on it, so please make sure you watch it. Oh, final showdown is what the thumbnail says. Prince Harry's final showdown with the Murdoch Empire. That's it. Prince Harry's final showdown with the Murdoch Empire. I thought it came out rather well. Of course, is the article from the Vanity Fair, as you can see right here. But sometimes those articles are a tough read. So it's very helpful. You can learn a lot if you watch some of the edited videos I make. And again, you guys, I don't make a lot of money from those videos because not a lot of people watch them, but they are very informative and it lets you know what's going on with Harry and the court cases. So it's all laid out for you. So if you go through the videos, not the lives, but the videos, you'll find that there's a whole collection that I've made over time. So make sure you check it out. And yes, they all come from the actual articles. Oh, thank you, Jeanette Williams. William's furious that Harry and Meghan still deliberately call Catherine Kate. Well, don't most people call her Kate? This has really become so overblown, but I'm going to see if I can bring some type of understanding. Friends say Harry and Meghan's bloody rude refusal to accept that Princess of Wales wants to be called Catherine is a key factor to the ongoing feud between brothers. First of all, everybody calls her Catherine. I'm sorry, calls her Kate, right? And so I don't know what the big issue is, but William, I think, wants, and I think it's really William. I don't think it's coming from Kate Middleton. I think it's actually William, and I'll tell you why. Anyway, William's furious that Harry and Meghan still deliberately call her Catherine Kate, says Tom Sykes. Okay, Tom Sykes. And there you can see the Mirror. I think it was the Tom Sykes was the first one who wrote about it, and then it ended up in the Mirror. Prince Harry is not close with his brother, Prince William, and one royal expert believes his recent trip to Nigeria with Meghan Markle has enraged the. Oh, I'm sorry, this was the wrong article. This one is. Well, anyway, he's always angry. That's the wrong article. Sorry about that. I love that picture of Harry, don't you? I love that picture of Harry. I don't recall him looking like that during that tour, but he must have saw something that disagreed with him. And anyway, I like it though. I think he looks hot. All right. So, why no one calls Kate Middleton Catherine, and the drama behind her original royal names. The origin story of Kate's name is honestly bizarre. Okay, are you ready for it? Now, I'm just highlighted. I didn't do everything that's associated with it, but let's get on with it. So, on top of being future queen and casual princess, Kate Middleton is a person with more names than she knows what to do with. Obviously, we in the States know her best as Kate, the nickname she used since actually never. Turns out Kate, it was largely coined by the media back in the early aughts, and the flip-flopping between it and Catherine has been a source of some royal drama. So take a deep breath, or wait a minute, or as Robert Jobson would say, take a deep gasp. Okay, so do as Robert Jobson, take a deep gasp, and let's dive in. Note, for purpose of this article, we'll be referring to Catherine as Kate, since her most widely used name in the United States is her, well, you know what I mean. So what's so funny about this is this article still is going to use Kate, even though they try to explain why she prefers Catherine. Don't you love the irony of it? Lex says a woman back in 2011 asked which did she prefer, and she said, I'm still very much Kate. They just need to put William in the news, linking him to Harry and Meghan. Thank you, Legs. Thank you. And you know what? That is the most valuable thing that Legs has brought to Royal Sussex, is the constant reminder, and it needs to be said, that no matter what is said and done, at the end of the day, there's always some underlying reason why the news is what it is, why the reports are what they are. So thank you, Legs, for always keeping us on track. Vanity Fair also, and by the way, this article is about a year old, I think. Vanity Fair also spoke to the Daily Mail's royal reporter, Becky the Blob, who said, interestingly, in the run-up to the 2011 royal wedding, senior members of the Palace PR team encouraged us in the British media to refer to Kate as Catherine. I think they thought it was more formal, more dignified, more royal. And to be fair, it is the name her family refers to her by. Needless to say, though, they were pretty much ignored. So, what does William call her? Catherine. Kate tries to get everyone to use Catherine in 2008. That didn't work. And then King Charles tried to get Kate to spell her name Catherine with a K. So William wants the formality because he is a company guy. At the end of the day, he's a company guy. So William wants the formality of Catherine. He feels as though it's more dignified to call her Catherine. And in 2008, because Kate the air hostess daughter of her mother, that Carol Middleton, Kate obviously was trying to get the role. In other words, if I'm going to marry into that family, I need people to refer to me by the title or by the name that William wants, Catherine. But that wasn't convenient for the press because they called her Waity Katie, right? Kate is still waiting, Waity Katie. So Waity Catherine was not going to work. I mean, how do you come up with something clever for Catherine? Catherine, I'm trying to think. Catherine. I can't think of anything that would be fun in print. Waity Katie. Lex says William is angry at Harry and Meghan because Harry goes by Harry and not Harold. Thank you so much, Legs. Absolutely. I don't know if Willie wants to be called Willie or whatever the case may be, but Harry is a very approachable sounding name. Harry is very humble. Harry is friendly. Kate is friendly. And that is one of the reasons why the palace really prefers Kate. Kate may not prefer it. William may not prefer it. But when I say palace, I mean Charles and Camilla. Also, Charles tried to get her to change the spelling of her name, right? Let me explain that to you. You see that? Those are the royal ciphers, right? So CR3, Charles Rex, King Charles III. And then there's CCR, Charles and Camilla. Would that be Rex or Regina or Reign? Charles and Camilla Reign? Well, anyway, that is their combined cipher. And then on the right side, that is Camilla's cipher. Now, Camilla's cipher is very broad and, it's got all those flourishments and everything, all of the curly cues. To me, it looks kind of like an octopus grabbing and trying to choke the life out of you. And then over here, you can see that same octopus is grabbing at Charles and holding him by his, what, if he still got him. But Charles told William a long time ago, there are too many C's, right? There's going to be too many ciphers with the letter C. You got Charles, you got Camilla, and then Catherine. That's why Charles wanted them to change it to Catherine with a K, so she wouldn't be confused with Camilla when she becomes queen, if that ever happens. And she, and then that'd just be a little bit less, which makes sense. Just change it to a K. But Kate would have done whatever she needed to get into that family. We all know that. But William, being as stubborn as he is, doesn't see it that way. So it remains Catherine with a C. So Princess Kate, names as styled in inspiration and hit. Oh yeah, this is a whole nother thing, you guys. This is so silly. Princess Kate named as style inspiration in hit Netflix show as Meghan Markle suffers another blow. This is another one of those childish, aha! You know what I mean? This is so schoolyard. You cannot believe a grown woman wrote this article, but here goes. So Princess Kate has been named styled inspiration in hit Netflix show just as Meghan Markle recently suffered a blow from the streaming giant. The 4th season of Emily in Paris was released on Netflix with the main character referring to the Princess of Wales early on. Emily in Paris is known for its outlandish wardrobe with costumes designer Marilyn Fitosi frequently pushing boundaries. When Mindy's boyfriend, Nico, gave her an outfit from JVMA, Emily described it as a little more Kate Middleton than Mindy usually wears. Kate's reference in the hit Netflix show comes as her sister-in-law, Meghan Markle, is gearing up to executive produce a new cooking and lifestyle series on the streaming giant. So instead of just saying, oh, y'all, take a look. They talked about Kate they had to do exactly what Lex said. They had to make it about Meghan. They had to make it about Meghan. Now, one of the comments said this: I understood the reference to the princess was a slight, as the character in question prefers outlandish, bizarre fashion styles. In turn, those who admire the princess fashion style will consider it in reality a compliment to her. But it was a slight. It was not meant as a compliment. It was saying that the Kate style was not stylish per se, that it was rather restrained and old-fashioned and a bit garish, right? That is what they're really saying. So I don't know if the person who wrote the article understands the difference, but this is abbreviated from the full article. I don't know if that person understands the difference, but it was not meant as a compliment. It was more or less like, too bad, so sad. And so if you have watched Emily in Paris, then you know that they kind of dress up like the girls from Clueless. The big difference is Clueless is based on high school, whereas Emily in Paris is young career women, right? Young women living in, the most beautiful city in Europe. And so the idea that someone would move to Paris and dress like Kate Middleton is rather silly. It is not a compliment to say that Mindy, the character Mindy, who wears all of these wild looking fashions, would want to be Kate Middleton. You see the difference? There's Mindy. And by the way, that's a jumpsuit that she's wearing, not a dress. There's Mindy with this big puffy fur hat and whatever she's wearing there, that print. And then there's Kate looking like she's a fugitive from an old Sears catalog, or an old Montgomery Ward catalog, looking like a 1970s J.C. Penney's model. You tell me who moves to Paris and dress like a model from J.C. Penney's? Not many people would do that. I mean, who can forget Kate in Boston or Kate in Ireland? Now tell me, which one was Boston and which was Ireland? Well, there are a lot of Irish American people in Boston. Also, it was for Earth Flop, so maybe that's why she wore green, for sustainability. Plus, that was a borrowed dress, I think they said. And then on the right side, I couldn't tell you what that is. Now, I don't know what young woman would move to Paris and wear something like that. This is the same dress, right? I'm sorry, this is the dress that she wore a week before Meghan came back over there to Narnia and taught them people what a duchess should be, right? Can you believe that they wore those a week apart? Meghan wore this and Kate wore that, looking like ho, 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 green giant. So again, it was a slight. It was not a compliment. But they're so anxious for some type of acknowledgement of their standard bearer, of the English rose, that they will take whatever they can get. If you just mention her name, then that's enough. This is Mindy and Emily in Paris. Now, the day you show me Kate Middleton strutting around Paris looking like that, then I'd be like, oh, that is a compliment. But until that happens, no, it's not. It is not. It was a rebuke to her usual bad taste. Huh? Like I said, I describe it? They kind of dress like the movie Clueless, but instead of high school girls, these are young career women. Some of the stuff is like that purse. I think maybe that's horsehair or something. I don't know. And what's the other one? Alpaca? I don't know what that is. It's fun though. It looks amazing on screen. It does. It looks amazing on screen, but it's not how real people dress. Although it wouldn't be impossible to go to New York or Paris and see people walking around like that. There are some people who have fun with their clothes. I can't seem to forget you. Your windsock stays on my mind. Remember that? Kate with the green windsock dress. Those are those things that you see outside the auto repair shop, tire shop, oil change. It's called a windsock. Oh, thank you for remembering that. You know, I started to use that photo, but I thought, nah, I'm not going to do it. Maybe that'd be a bit much right now. But since you brought it up, remember, I didn't bring it up. You did. So let me find the windsock. Let me find that windsock. I can't seem to forget you. Your windsock stays on my mind. You have been watching way too much Royal Sussex. Just think of all of the other things you could use that bit of your brain for, and you're thinking about some crazy thing I said. I'm frightened for you. Okay, are you ready for it? The windsock? Here goes. Thank you, Marshar. Oh my goodness, it's taking forever to load. There you go. There you go. Kate went to Boston dressed like a windsock, which maybe that's revenge because William went to the first what do you call that? Earth 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 Summit, Earth Shot. He went dressed as the Mitchum roll-on deodorant. Yeah, he wanted to be the Mitchum roll-on deodorant, and Kate went as the windsock. You gotta love him for it. It shows that they have that they're very daring with their fashion, not in the way that they are on Emily in Paris, but in a way that is so much more entertaining. Yeah, we'll say entertaining. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, when I think of that Windsong perfume, if you guys remember, by Prince Machiavelli. Remember that perfume from the 70s? I can never forget you. Your wind song stays in my mind. And then for some reason, I think windsock and wind song. I don't know. Just goes to show how weird I am. So there you go. Take a look. Organizers of the past few Invictus Games have been really imaginative when it comes to mascots. We don't require the organizers to create a mascot, but a few previous hosts realized that dogs hold a special place in the heart of many service members, and getting a hug from a giant friendly doggy can be incredibly comforting. Take a look. See there? Yeah, so not mandatory, but just fun. They like to have fun. Oh, guess what? I'm done. I am done. I can't believe it. That was the last slide, you all. That was the last slide. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you, as always, for watching Royal Sussex. Muchas gracias, senors and senoritas. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Mod Squad for keeping this a safe space as usual. And let me see. Remember, if you see this person, her family is trying to find her. She has escaped from home again, and has been seen wandering around the streets of uh, around various towns and hamlets in Scotland. So if you see her, do not approach her, because she can actually be violent and prone to things like licking your face and um, what else? Scratching. She likes scratches behind her ears, by the way. So if you see her, if you see something, say something, but don't approach her, because she can be rather vicious toward people that she's not familiar with. But if you're a member of the Royal Rota, or any other person involved in the British press, then she can be incredibly friendly and accommodating. Yeah, incredibly friendly and accommodating. I mean, you could literally rub her belly. She'll roll over on her back and let you rub her belly and stuff like that. So um, she also enjoys little treats like little pieces of bacon, and they even have a section at the grocery store full of snacks that she likes. So there you go. If you see her, her family is looking for her. Maybe not her stepchildren, but her family are looking for her. Yeah. If you see something, say something. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I feel really, really good about the success of the Sussexes, and I'm still gonna find everything I can and share it with you for the time being. But they've done a great thing with that visit, and it means so much to so many people there. Also, I'm gonna do a video for this article, so look for that maybe as soon as tomorrow. But I'm gonna do a video for that article. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. Thank you very much. Please pray for our Sussexes. Do that. I feel like they have done some incredible things this past few days, and knowing how those people are over there, well, we have to pray for their protection because they are hot. They are not very happy about it. And in particular, I am proud of our Duchess. She makes me proud. They both do. And when they got married, this was what I was actually looking forward to, was just to see them do stuff, and in the very Princess Diana way. And now we see how much Diana had to deal with because she was just being herself. Diana had a lot of time on her hands. She wanted to do good with that time. It was about her doing something good and giving something back, caring for people who otherwise would have been forgotten about. Yeah, could you imagine all those fleas and ticks and stuff jumping out of the out of that coat, out of that shiny, healthy coat? Oh, could you imagine it? Oh, you guys, Tim Walt's son, I think it was his son, was in tears because of his father's speech. He had said something about his son, and they said everybody in the audience was crying. I didn't get a chance to really look at it because I was trying to get ready for tonight. But I really feel good. I really, really feel good. This tour of the Sussexes was everything that I hoped it would be. And I just feel really good. I am in a very good place because Harry and Meghan's success. I feel like I feel part of it, I don't know if you all feel the same way, but I feel like I'm part of it. I feel like all of our hopes and dreams for what was possible because of their humanity and philanthropy and such has been recognized. Yeah, I feel like a recognition because we know how wonderful the Sussexes are, but it seemed like more and more people are being pulled into the negativity and such. And so sometimes, intellectually, better, but emotionally, it really tests your reason. It tests your ability to reason. And now we know better. Now we know better. So I feel really good about that. I'm just going to relive that weekend in my mind and go through the photos again and again. Wow. Okay. Well, see there, we have that connection, don't we? We have that weird connection, but I like it. Okay. I'm you're talking about Professor Tim Wilson. I did see Professor Wilson say that. I did see that guy, Tim Wilson. It's so obvious, but because of the cult-like presence of Becky the Blob and the rest of those people, there's instead of them trying to smooth out things in the family, they are just as invested in the destruction of the royal family as anyone else over there could be, because they're not helping the family, they're not preserving the family. They don't. It's a big gamble because they don't know what's going to happen with um, George, Charlotte, and Louis. They don't know because the people that they have discarded, the people that they discarded, has just shown them another way that they're not stuck. And the young people today, you ask them, what do you want to be? They say content creator, blogger. They're not trying to go to NASA. And I don't know who would want to be a member of the royal family. Harry, fortunately for him, Harry has vision and he knows how powerful the platform is. That's why Harry still believes in the institution, because it could be a force for the better, for change, for good. If you use it properly, you could use those titles, use the history of that family to help a lot of people. That is the example of Princess Diana. But if you are selfish with that, then you're William and Kate. Kate has yet to identify with anyone with cancer. We don't know of Kate being involved with any charities, fundraisers, nothing to do with cancer. Nothing. What was the name of that chuck wagon? Remember that commercial? Yeah, yeah, chuck wagon, yeah. Wasn't that one of those food commercials? Chuck wagon, yeah, yeah. And they would have like a covered wagon racing through the house. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. That's sad. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, even if, and I don't believe it to be the case, but even if I was wrong about everything that I have said about her in this past, what, 7, 8 months, I don't believe I am wrong about it. But even if that is the case, the rollout was very sloppy. It did not make a lot of sense. And I still have to go back to day one, the announcement of 2 surgeries on one day, 2 surgeries that were not cancerous, and now they are. And the 2 people that was having these surgeries are the same 2 people who have been accused of being racist. The same 2 people whose popularity was plummeting, right? And I still say that I have not seen any polls. You know, they do those polls about the popularity of the royal family. Now, if they have done them, I haven't seen it. But usually, when there is a poll, they try to rub it in everybody's face. Curiously enough, haven't seen much by way of polls because the royal family's popularity has sunk like a stone. And they only have themselves to blame. I do not believe that anybody set out to hurt the institution, but I believe that it was necessary for Harry to tell the truth. And he's not even telling the whole story, but he had to tell the truth because the longer it festered with the leaking and briefing, not only against him, but against his wife. If it was just him, I'm pretty sure he probably would have maybe done nothing, maybe done nothing at all. As he did before, he just didn't say anything. But when you're coming for me and my family, including my children, then something has to be said because the genesis of all of the hatred comes from Kensington Palace. All of it starts with Kensington Palace. If they would have said something in the beginning, then you would have had some fringe people out there saying whatever. But the relationship between the Royal Rota, the rest of the British tabloid media, and the derangers and trolls, that relationship seems to have received some tepid approval from Kensington Palace. They feed that monster. They feed into it. And then after that, they tried to compete against Harry and Meghan's popularity, which is kind of like, let me see, if you want to go four-wheeling, right, and you take a front-wheel drive Toyota rather than a four-wheel drive, let's say Jeep Wrangler, or, you know, that kind of situation where you really need all 4 tires to get out of the worst situations. And instead, you have something that is low to the ground and only has a 2-wheel drive, front-wheel drive car. Probably not going to be a success. And that's what they're doing with Kate and Willie leaks, is that they're trying to go off-roading. They're trying to travel into places that some vehicles usually never go, just to try to keep up with the 4-wheel drive vehicle. And what happens is you get stuck, and they got stuck. I said in the fall, when they were doing the all for one, one for all, and Kate was all over the place, I said, don't worry, this is unsustainable. By spring, not spring, but actually by the new year, they're going to take some time off, and then we'll probably see them for Easter and the Troop in the Colors. What else? Oh, Commonwealth Day, Easter, Troop in the Colors, right? Then they're going to disappear again for the summer. Don't worry about it. Kate is not going to be able to sustain this much work. William cannot sustain this much work. So I didn't suspect it was going to last long, but they were really pushing, trying to free themselves from not just Spare, but they were trying to escape all of the stuff that came up with Endgame, which the point of it was a warning to them, do better. And instead, it got worse. So they only have themselves to blame. They only have themselves to blame. Just because you have all the tools, just because you got all the money, all of that means nothing without talent. And they don't have talent. They just don't have talent. You're supposed to play to your strong suits, not your shortcomings. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the invisible contract. Good night, Vinny Blair. Yeah, you guys, I'm done. So if you need to start your day or go to bed or something like that, please don't hang around. We'll pick up tomorrow where we left off. Yeah. If she's not gone already. If she's not gone already. But the thing about the negotiation, that there's been some negotiation, I could believe that. It makes sense. It really does make sense that she was angling towards some type of security for herself and for her family, her parents, because her parents, they need protection of some sort or some degree. They need some type of financial protection. I want to show you guys something. Let me see if I can bring that up. She looks terrible. He looks terrible. It's like they have been to hell and back, whatever is going on. Whatever is going on, I think it could all be made better if they just leave Harry and Meghan alone. Whatever's going on with them could be made better if they just leave the Sussexes alone. Because they are doing more damage to themselves in this jealousy or whatever it is. They're doing themselves more damage than they are good. Whether it's ego or whatever it is, they're hurting themselves. With this stupid competition. I think Harry is paving the way for all of them. I really do. Louis might fool us, and he might be the one that's the real company man. Although it doesn't seem that way for sure, but I believe all those kids, and let's not forget, there was no social media for Harry and his brother. There was no social media, but they got it now. They got it now, and all it takes, all it takes is for people that are the closest to them to show them this video or that photo or whatever, and they're going to see life in a very different way. They're going to see life in such a different way. Yeah, yeah. They look like one of those couples that has been living like under a bridge or in their car. That's what they look like. Like a couple of very toxic, unhealthy people. That's what they look like. Two very toxic and unhealthy people. And I don't mean physical health, I mean mentally unhealthy people. And because William takes the lead and she's not that much better herself, the government doesn't even miss them. The British government doesn't even miss them. They wasn't expecting much for them in the first place. Do you realize that the British government give them absolutely nothing to do? They don't give William anything to do. And that excuse about him spending time with his family and his kids, rubbish. They don't want him to do anything because he's not good at anything. He's not good at anything. He doesn't bring people together. The whole thing with the earth flop, that is something that needs Harry. Harry's ability to promote a cause and articulate the importance of something is breathtaking. You don't learn anything from William. I cannot think of anything that I've learned from anything that he's doing. There's no there. There's no substance. But I'll give him a compliment. He's a good speaker to a degree. He's a good speaker. But the words are so shallow because he did not write it. He didn't even inspire it. There's no inspiration. Whoever writes his speeches for him, they don't have him as an inspiration. They have the message, but they don't have any purpose. Yeah. Oh, you're so right about that, cookies and cream. Unroyal family has given license to disrespect the entire family. I love it. That is so profound. By attacking the Sussexes, the unroyal family has given license to disrespect the entire family. So instead of having the great unwashed of society cheering them on, instead it exposes them as being just as trashy as some of the people who think they're great. Cookies and cream, I am going to build a shrine to you. Do you hear me? Something that I can light a candle every day and say, you know what? You were right. That is brilliant. By trying to tear down the Sussexes, You have actually shifted your own foundation. You have made your own building unsafe. Oh, that's incredible. You see, this is why I like to have these conversations. That's why I love this. Um, I get the idea that some people, oh, there's a mute challenge. There's a mute challenge. I don't sign up to the mute challenges. I don't care about that stuff. I like to be in the moment. And that was brilliant. That's one of those things that is a life lesson. It's pretty much the same as if you dig a hole for one person, you better dig one for yourself. And in this case, exactly. And so they have issued a license to everyone. They have added a certain cynicism around the whole meaning of the monarchy. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. That makes a lot of sense. I love it. Okay, so we better go, you guys. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Harry would have been there to give him balance because the power dynamic between William and the people that work for him, that is an imbalance. Harry could give him balance because Harry is very passionate about what's right and what's wrong. He has a lot of integrity, integrity, plenty of it. And you could just hear Harry's voice say, wait a minute, that's not right. And no one in William's circle will have the courage or wherewithal to say that to him. You cannot say that to him. Harry would rather him be angry than misled, whereas the people that work for him would rather mislead him than to have him angry. And that's the problem. That is a problem. A lot of the mistreatment that the Sussexes have suffered is because Harry believes in truth and Meghan believes in him. She trusts him enough to know that he's going to do what's right. And because he knows that he has love and has trust in his life, it makes it so much easier for him to do what's right. Not to mention those two beautiful kids that need to know that their father fought for them. There's nothing more important in those children's future than knowing that their parents said no and that they fought. They pushed back against that system. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, you guys, this is just absolutely brilliant. You all are coming up with the most amazing stuff at this hour. They're not in sync with their own age group, let alone their children. I believe like Queen Victoria, when she went into mourning and stayed away from the public for what, years, wasn't it? It's amazing how their presence is not even necessary. And that is really a huge mistake. The Queen understood that I must be seen to be believed, right? She didn't have to do anything, just show up. And William is running in the opposite direction. There's so much more to going to a flower show than just looking at flowers. There's so much more to it because the presence of the royal family is consistent, right? Just like the sun is going to come up in the morning, you expect the royals are going to do certain things. It's not life-changing to most people, but it's consistent. And that's what a lot of people want. They want consistency. They don't necessarily really want them to do anything, but for the limited work that you have to do, and you can't even do that. Now you're saying that that's too much? Your grandparents did it. Their parents did it. But you can't? I'm going to tell you something I learned a long time ago from a friend of mine whose father was chronically ill. She was planning a weekend, where to go dancing, all that kind of stuff. I said, "Are you really going out?" "Yeah, why?" I said, "Well, your father's in the hospital." She said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't want to be kind of close to your family right now?" "Uh-uh." I said, "Why not?" She said, "If every time he was in and out of the hospital, if every time he had taken ill, I stopped doing everything I was doing or needed to do, I wouldn't have much of a life." And something just clicked in my head in that moment. I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Because it could have been last time, it could have been the time before that, could have been 5 years ago. At some point, he's not going to come back home from the hospital. And you don't know when that's going to happen. So in the meantime, she had a life to live. So that's what she did. And that's what the Queen did. Through sickness and health, the Queen worked. Whether she was sick, Philip was sick, her mother was sick, her sister was dying, she went to work. Because people expect that consistency. The whole step up and lift and all that kind of stuff. They call Harry and Meghan woke, but William is the one who is unable to function over the littlest things. It's supposed to be the woke person who, oh my God, I feel threatened. I can't do that. Right? My spirit's not in a good place. I can't do that. You expect that from the woke person, not the darling of the right wing, Will and Kate. Yeah. And I think if Charles had not gotten involved with this whole Royal Rota thing, if Charles had not tried to move heaven and earth to put that woman on the throne next to him, lying repeatedly, she won't be called queen. I'm not going to marry her. There was so many lies that was told. when the whole time it seems like through incremental steps, they were able to do everything that he wanted to do in the first place. You know, you're right about that. You're right. Yeah. And you remember they were trying to say that that Charles and Kate were so close. I'm like, who are y'all talking to? They are not close. They have never been close. Somebody in the Royal Rota or some courtier thought that that was a good idea to say that they were close, just to keep Kate's name out there, I suppose, or whatever. But that's ridiculous. They're not close and never have. Charles is not even close to William. When Charles first got sick, he didn't want William any place near him. He didn't want William coming a mile close to him. That was too close. But just like the narrative about how close William and Harry, how they depend on each other, that was a lie. Harry said that was a lie. So anytime that they say that there's some kind of amazing connection between family members, now we know it's a lie. Now we know it's a lie. If they say it, if it comes from the Royal Rota, it's a lie. What's that? Really? That's the first I heard that. And I bet you they prefer it that way, Adrian. I bet they prefer it that way. Beatrice and Eugenie, but you know what though? You're onto something there because they were talking them up big time. Let's do a quick review. I'm sorry, you guys. I mean to get off of here soon, but when all of this talk of illness first happened, they said that Becky the Blob said William would move heaven and earth for Kate's well-being, right? And then we only saw William go toward that hospital one time, and that was it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, twice. We saw him go in. No, take it back. We saw him go past the hospital, right? We didn't see him go in, and we didn't see him come out. Yet every time Charles and Camilla, you watch him go in and you watch him come out. The Middletons, Pippa, James, Carol, Mike, they're going to rearrange their schedules so that they can support the family. We did not see Mike or Carol Middleton until the horse races, the Royal Ascot. That was the first time we had seen Mike and Carol all year. So that was a lie. Then they kept trying to say that Harry and Meghan are disrespectful. They don't mention Kate. They don't mention Charles. Then they say they better not mention them. They better not mention them. And then if Harry said, what was it? He just said, yeah, I saw my father. I don't want to talk about it. How dare he? Okay. And then, of course, Adelaide Cottage is one of the coldest places on the face of the earth. I kid you not. They were making this case why Kate shouldn't go back to Adelaide Cottage because it's cold and uncomfortable. Like we're supposed to believe that they moved to a house that is not fit to live in and that she needs to convalesce someplace else, meaning, I guess, her mother's house. It was just so many inconsistencies. But don't worry, you guys. I saved a lot of screenshots. And if there's ever a time when we need to straighten all of this out, I know I have plenty of stuff. I know some other people have plenty of stuff. And so whatever they try to lie about, they won't get away with it. Yeah. Charles didn't want William near because he knew what he can do to him. Also, Charles is not seeing any of grandchildren yet. Camilla is seeing her own children and grandchildren. Yep. It seems as though Charles is, I won't say he's, well, they don't ever show Camilla's family with him for whatever reason. But I'm willing to believe that he's closer to them and has made sure that they have protection in comparison to the Sussexes and their children. And when it's all said and done, Charles has tainted his reputation forever. I don't even think that he has enough time to turn anything around if he wanted to. His reputation is in the toilet. All of the Prince's Trust and all of the goodwill and such, if you cannot, what's her name, said it, Jacqueline Kennedy, she said, whatever you do in life, if you're not a good parent, then everything else does not even matter. She said, if you don't get it right with your children, the other stuff is not important. And Charles has never gotten it right with his children. He gets it right with Camilla's children, I'm sure, but not his own. Oh, yeah, Royal Rota, not talking about riots, money, and helicopters. Hello. And also not talking about the royal family's relationship to money, riots, and helicopters. Riots, they don't want to talk about it. Charles pretends like it didn't happen. Money, they won't discuss how much is coming in, even though they're working less. And helicopters, I think it's two $8 million helicopters being added to the fleet. One is for George, and the other, I think, is just a backup for whatever. But, or you know what? Maybe that negotiation that Kate had, maybe that was part of the negotiation, was to make sure that she got her own helicopter. Could be. When somebody breaks rank and identifies these things, someone who would have the courage to tell the truth, to write a book, right? someone who could write a book about that family and tell the truth about the public money they squander and all the shady stuff that they've done to try to save face. That would be a great day. I'd buy that book. Yeah, I'd buy that book. Okay, I'm going to go for real this time. Good night, you all. Love you. I will see you tomorrow. Love your tomorrow. You're only a day